Hello, I'm Ruth, and welcome back to This Is How We Roll. This episode is called Dating Safety. In light of it having just been Valentine's Day, I thought it would be a good time to go over ways to stay safe when you are dating while having a condition. In this episode, there will be a warning. That warning will be discussion of sexual topic. Before diving into the meat of this week's episode, I wanted to tell you guys that I think I'm going to be changing the style in which I do my episodes a bit. I think I'm going to be switching to a more strictly podcast type of style, kind of like you saw last week. The title pages will change and any pertinent information will be shown, but there's not going to be pictures in between. I think I'm going to keep doing it like this because I want to focus on bringing you guys content, and it takes a lot of time to edit in all of those pictures, so I think I'm going to stick with title pages and pertinent information. So, how to stay safe when dating? First of all, set boundaries. Before you go into the dating world, take some time to think about when you would feel comfortable having certain things come up in a relationship. For example, when it's okay for your partner to kiss you, have sex with you, remove you from wheelchair or other mobility equipment. The reason why this is so important is because it's the first line of defense against getting yourself into a situation you don't want to be in. If someone tries to push you further than you want to go, on a given date, you can just say, it's against my personal beliefs to do that before we've had this many dates. Express boundaries. Before you go on a date with someone, especially a first date, you should say something like, I'm okay with doing this and that on our date, but I'm not okay going any further. This may seem strange or harsh to you, however, it's a really good idea for anyone, but especially someone who is disabled. That way their suitor knows what to expect of the date. Be clear and direct. When expressing your boundaries both on a date and before a date, use clear and direct language. What I mean by this is instead of saying, on our date, I'm okay with doing this and that, but I don't see myself wanting to do anything else, say, on our date, I'm okay with doing this and that, but I'm not willing to go any further. The same goes for when you are on a date with someone and they try to push you to go further than you want to. Don't say, I don't think I want to do that. Instead say, I'm not okay with doing that. It goes against my boundaries. The next thing I'm going to discuss is particularly important on the first few dates. When you and your suitor are deciding where you're going to have your date, it's important to pick somewhere that is not too secluded. This is important because in public situations, people are less likely to do anything untoward. Saying no. Remember, no matter what, how far you've gone with your partner, no matter how long you've been with your partner, you always have the right to say no. You don't have to do anything in particular with anyone, no matter how long you've been with them. If you don't want to take the next step in your relationship that your partner suggests, then you don't have to. Have a phone. Finally, make sure you have a phone with you that is charged. It is important that you can contact someone if things become uncomfortable. In conclusion, I'm really not trying to scare you guys out of dating. I encourage you to get out there and find the love of your life if you haven't already. I just think it's very important for people to be aware of the dangers in the dating world in general, but particularly when you have a disability. I don't want anyone going into a date expecting it is going to go wrong. I just want you guys to know what to do if you feel like it's starting to go wrong. We are now entering the sensitive part of the material. The warning is for a discussion of sexual topic. One of the focuses of my YouTube channel is to debunk commonly held misbeliefs about people who have disabilities, so I'm going to go over a couple right now. I would like to start out by addressing the belief that people with disabilities do not have a sex drive. This is completely false. I am still completely at a loss as to how this one came about. Obviously, the person's mental capacity plays a huge role in whether they do or do not desire sexual interaction. But if a person is cognitively able enough to have someone that they consider to be a romantic partner, then I can almost guarantee that they desire sexual interaction with that partner. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but that's generally a good rule of thumb. The second misconception I would like to address is that people who have physical disabilities have sexual organs that do not function properly. AKA, those who are physically disabled cannot experience sexual pleasure or procreate. This is also false. Obviously, the kind of disability does play a huge role in whether or not one can or cannot experience sexual pleasure and or procreate. However, it is not something that should be automatically assumed for all people who are physically disabled. If your partner is physically disabled, that is a conversation you guys will probably end up having with them when the time is right for you guys. Next, I want to bring up the topic of having sex with a conditioned or disabled partner. This next part may seem like it's not really fitting with the episode, but it's something that I think is really important to talk about, but I don't really know what other episode it would go in. So you may be wondering, how do I bring up the topic of sex with my partner? Well, first of all, when you guys feel ready to have the conversation, just bring it up. And make sure that you have a really open conversation with your partner where you both discuss sexual desires and how those can be achieved. This is an important discussion to have because with the disability, sometimes mobility can make certain positions inaccessible. Therefore, it is important to discuss other ways that those desires can be met. It is important that both partners are enjoying the sex, but that can't really be done if one of the partners is in a scary or uncomfortable position. It's really important that both partners are honest about what they enjoy and that both partners talk about how that can be achieved. If your partner is disabled, try to be open to the idea of sex looking a little bit different with your partner than you thought it would. Finally, if either partner at any time begins to feel uncomfortable with what is going on, it is important that that is said and that you guys figure out how to fix the issue. Thank you. That's it for this episode. Until next time, remember, we're all different, so just roll with it.